It's the first show of the month of August. You know what that means. We begin our division previews for the upcoming NFL regular season. Plus, we bring to you the latest breaking news in the NFL, the NBA, and more. Our Nation Sports Show is next. Our Nation Sports Show. At last, football is finally back. The wait is over. Starting tonight, our Nation Sports Show begins our coverage of the 2025 NFL season. Since this show began in 2021, throughout the entire month of August, we break down and analyze every single division in both the AFC and the NFC conferences respectively. Tonight, it's the AFC North and the AFC South. From our division previews throughout the entire regular season campaign, the playoffs, and Super Bowl 60 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, our Nation Sports Show has you covered throughout the entire season in the National Football League. The question is, are you ready for some football talk all season long? It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
It's 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 o'clock on the West. You know what that time means. It's a Tuesday night. It is time to talk a little bit of sports. You know what that means because right now we are live and in color, right now on the World Wide Web, right here on YouTube. What is going on? And welcome to the first episode of the month of August of our Nation Sports Show. And you know what this means, ladies and gentlemen. If you've been following our show for the last 4 years, since we began this in 2021, that means we start our coverage of the NFL season. It is hard to believe that we are a month away from another NFL regular season getting underway. It is going to be incredible to cover every single big story up and down from here on out until Super Bowl 60 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. We will have you covered on all things NFL throughout the entire season. Because starting tonight and for the next 4 weeks, we begin our division previews for every single division in both in the AFC and the NFC, respectively. What is going on, everybody? I'm your host for this season, Stephen Wyand, and in the 11th hour, some last-minute host changes came in. Ezra cannot be here tonight due to a last-minute family emergency. Hopefully everything is going okay, brother. And Joey cannot be here tonight as well. But don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. Ezra and Joey have sent their videos in giving their thoughts on the AFC North and the AFC South divisions, and those videos will be played here tonight. And hopefully, Kevin will be joining us here in the next few minutes or so. And hopefully, he'll be able to be joining me here tonight. But tonight, it's going to be a lot of fun as we break down the NFL. It's going to be a lot of fun. And with that being said, before I get to the division reviews, I do want to bring this up in regards to the NBA. And I don't like starting out, broadcasts like this, but it needs to be said. Kendrick Perkins continues to make an ass out of himself, putting his foot in his mouth with some of the most hot garbage clickbait takes. Kendrick Perkins continues to make a mockery of what it means to be in the media. For those that don't know, the story broke a couple of hours ago that Kendrick Perkins was on a podcast yesterday with the former NBA player Richard Jefferson. And Kendrick Perkins absolutely, once again, made himself look like a complete and utter idiot with just another stupid clickbait response that got everybody talking these last couple of hours in the world of sports. And I'm not going to say everything that he said, but the one thing that jumped out to me in this clip is him comparing the modern athlete that plays in the NBA, that deals with criticisms, that deals with getting critiqued, and all of that sort of stuff that comes in with the territory of today when it comes to being on social media, because no matter how much you are active or not on social media, as far as an athlete, it doesn't matter. The average person that has social media today, they will use their keyboards on their computers or on their phones to say what's on their mind. And Kendrick Perkins compared the criticisms and the critiques that fans give athletes on social media to athletes today having it just as bad as the, wait for it, racism back in the day. So Kendrick, let me get this straight. You're comparing the criticisms that a Luka Doncic, that a LeBron, a Kevin Durant, or any other player that comes to mind, a John Morant, a player getting criticized like really badly, like just saying how bad they're playing or being critical of their character, on how they're acting, in the public eye. You're going to compare these athletes getting criticized on the same level as racism from back in the day? Give me a freaking break. Oscar Robinson and Bill Russell had it way more worse than the athletes do today. Because back then, it was not accepted, it wasn't, the world did not accept black people, white people, and all people across different colors to be in the same environment. Now, you can have black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asians. It doesn't make a damn. You can have anybody on planes and in hotels and all this sort of stuff. Back then, players were divided by the color of their skin on how they were going to react with one another, whether it be in restaurants or again on, like buses or hotels, etc. Kendrick Perkins, do us all a favor and shut the literal hell up. This is ridiculous. How week after week it seems like he is always making a fool, a mockery of himself. And I think he does it because he wants attention. Well, congratulations, idiot. You're getting attention when normally on the first show of the month of August, we're talking about the NFL. But no, you had to deter from me doing that right now because I am addressing the idiotic, asinine, stupid remarks that you made again. Enough with this racism bullshit. Comparing how the modern athlete has it just as bad as the players back then. You can't compare. There's no comparison. None whatsoever. This is ridiculous on so many levels. Take your racism bullshit comments and shove them up your ass. This is ridiculous. You wanted your 3 minutes of fame? You got it. Oh, wait, did I just say 3 minutes? Well, you got it. What a joke. What an absolute joke. Now, moving on to better things. And before I get into the NFL coverage, you can follow us on social media on Twitter, or as it is called these days, X at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show. And where right now I am riding solo right now, hosting this first edition of the sports show of the month of August as we start diving into our NFL division previews here on youtube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe to all your family and your friends that love the world of sports. And also, if you love the world of professional wrestling, RASSLIN, that spells wrestling. You can tune into the Nation's Corner on most Saturday nights, where it is all right for fighting and talking a little bit of pro wrestling at youtube.com/Nation's Corner. Be sure to join the guys and the gal as they recap all things professional wrestling. And professional wrestling continues to get hotter and hotter and hotter because literally the hottest party of the summer just came and went over the weekend. SummerSlam for the first time for the WWE, a 2-night event, a 2-night extravaganza on Saturday night and Sunday night in East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the shadows of New York City, home of the Jets and the Giants. And before we get to the NFL discussion, I do also want to talk about the contract extension of Luka Doncic getting a 3-year contract extension with the Lakers. And this does not come at a surprise because Luka has gained a lot of notoriety since his coming into the NBA, his years with the Mavericks, and taking Dallas to the NBA Finals a couple of years ago. And then last year, or should I say last season, early this year, and Luka, for the most part, had a pretty good, tenure with the, latter half of the year with the Lakers. He took him a bit to get ready, to get ready, as far as consistently playing, pretty well. But Luka, got kind of used. Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Unlike LeBron, he shows up on time. My man, who just joined in the nick of time, K-Rock, Kevin Rory. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Steven? Yep, the tribal thief decided to hop on for a little bit, for a few minutes, to discuss the divisions.
And before we get to the NFL stuff, I was just talking about to bring up to speed, talking about the idiot of all idiots, Kendrick Perkins, once again cashing checks with his mouth that his ass can't cash with his stupid comments yesterday, and was just also talking about bringing up the contract details of Luka Doncic signing a 3-year, $165 million max extension to say with the Lakers. Now, Kev, it's up to you. I just threw a little bit out there for you. Where do you want to start with this? Because Kendrick's comments are absolutely ridiculous.
What
And
comment? What was his comment? I don't believe I paid much.
so let me bring you up to speed. Okay, so Kendrick Perkins was on a podcast yesterday with Richard Jefferson. And Kendrick Perkins basically compared the modern day athlete in the NBA getting criticized, critiqued,
Mm.
whether it be at their character, or their playing on the court, to having it as rough as the quote racism back in the day, when Bill Russell and Oscar Robinson and Casey Jones and other players, that played during that time that were outright getting, inward this and inward that, and just all this racism stuff thrown at them. That to me, Kev, is more worse than the modern day NBA athlete getting criticized on social media because, as we all know, the people out there that have social media that has a keyboard on a computer or their fingertips on their phone, bunch of keyboard warriors will say a bunch of stuff just to say stuff on social media. I am sorry, Kendrick Perkins, but the modern day NBA athlete does not have it worse like the players did back in the day when it comes to the racism. Just complete stupid.
No, if you want my honest opinion, players these days, like them or not, they're spoiled fucking brats. Like, that's literally what they are. They get 400, 300, $400 million. They get to sit out plenty of games because of load management. They basically run the NBA, and how I don't understand where his concept is on this. Just because of some keyboard warriors on the internet who love to always criticize you, no matter what you do, because I like that's just their job. Their job is to be toxic. I mean, their job is to just. I mean, you see it anywhere. You see toxic fan. I mean, you see toxic quote unquote fans criticizing their own guys. You see in all sports, football, baseball, basketball, hell, even wrestling. You just see toxic ass people on the internet, and it's nowhere near like that in life. I mean,
Exactly.
like in live events, and it's nothing like that. And I don't understand. I mean, you can block that out. I mean, I don't never see LeBron commenting on people on the internet like hell. So you mean to tell me if LeBron can block it out, why can't anybody else? Because LeBron's been arguably the most criticized star in the NBA. I mean, over the last 20 years because of some of his decisions, obviously, and some of his antics. So, I mean, he's arguably one of the most criticized, and he doesn't call it having it rough. So I don't know,
Exactly.
Perkins.
And this is the problem with people like Kendrick Perkins and the modern NBA, analysts, on television or on these podcasts now. A lot of these guys say stuff just to get clickbait and to get instant gratification of getting responses. And I hate starting out shows like this, because we got bigger fish to fry, with our NFL division previews. But this has to be addressed. It is just ridiculous how Kendrick Perkins seems to always put his foot in his mouth and just say the most outrageous stuff just to get, a response from people.
You know what? It's Kendrick Perkins and his, to be honest, and I don't go into it much. It's really Kendrick Perkins and his narratives that keep this race baiting going on in the NBA. Like talking about, oh, it's like racism, this and that. I remember the comment he made 2, 3 years ago talking about the only reason Jokic gets MVP votes is because he's white. And the people, oh, stop it. Steve Nash was the last MVP that was white, and it was like over 20 years ago. I believe it was 2006.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
got it
get
2 years in
that
a row.
proper
Yeah.
crap. Just
Yeah.
like JJ Redick said, he blasted him on ESPN that day talking about, is that what we do? We make these fake ass narratives just to fit what y'all want to discuss or fit what you want to discuss or get your point across that does not make it true at all. So
Exactly.
that's just Kendrick Perkins being Kendrick Perkins.
Exactly. Now, as far as the Luca contract extension is concerned, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, it was just a matter of time. Luka, I had a feeling was going to be staying with the Lakers, but
Luke, let me just say this though. He got shitted out of a lot of money because of the trade, he was not eligible for the Supermax extension, which would have paid him close to $300 million. So 165, he lost out on $140 million because of damn Nico Harrison. That's
yeah,
insane.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, figure we get those parts addressed, and also now that we're diving into the NFL, this has to be said as well. But man, oh man, and Kev, you and I and Joey and Ezra, we've been following this stuff for the last several days. But you got these NFL players like Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson, and obviously Terry McLaurin. These guys are holding out, for not getting paid, and uh Micah Parsons, is talking about wanting to get traded. And
Mm.
dude, you know as well as I do, we welcome all the chaos with Cowboys fans because at the end of the day, the Cowboys are a beautiful disaster flying down the street again, and just it's just hilarious that the Dallas Cowboys are continuously doing this. Well, excuse me, Jerry Jones is
Well,
constantly not paying his players.
Jerry Jones is going to Jerry Jones. And honestly, you can make the case that Michael Parsons is arguably your guy, your franchise player, the number one guy on the entire team, but you don't want to pay him. But you're going to pay Dak Prescott being the number one quarterback in the NFL. Give me a break. CD Lamb got what he was supposed to, even though some games he can't CD ball. Micah Parsons is your best player on the team. Period. Capital. I mean, there's no debate. And now you don't want to pay him, or you sit there and have conversations with him behind closed doors without his agent present and think you have a deal done. Oh, stop it. Michael Parsons has been telling you for last year, since last preseason, he wants to get this deal done quick. Since he became extension eligible, I want to just get it out of the way and get it done. He showed up to camp. He hasn't held out, and the way you repay him is, he's got to want to get paid. I don't know what. I don't understand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's absolutely ridiculous how every single time we constantly talk about these circumstances, with Jerry Jones, how in the last couple of off seasons, he refused to play CD Lamb. He refused to play he refused to pay Dak Prescott. But when he did, the asking prices went up on the
Yep.
market for those respective positions.
It's like I
And
guess he was waiting for the sun to shine out of a pig's ass because I mean, what are you waiting for? The market for defensive end was Nick Bosa at 34 million. Now over the last offseason, Max Crosby got paid more. Miles Garrett got 39. Now TJ Watt just shattered the damn record with 41 million. Now Micah went way sky high. Micah just wanted 34, 35 last year. Now you idiots wait. Now him rightfully so. Like, no, I want 40. Shit, if TJ Watt's getting 42, I want around that too. I want 40. And now Jerry Jones again doing what he does best, running the price up on these contract extensions, and it keeps him from actually being able to sign positions of other need. I mean, example, last year, you signed Dak for all that damn money when he don't even deserve about 50. I mean, he deserves about what Jared Goff gets, 50, 52. That's $8 million you would have saved. CD Lamb, if you would have signed him early, you could have got him for like 31 before Justin Jefferson got 37. Now you had to sign CD Lamb to 35. That's another $4 million. You know what Derrick Henry's playing for in Baltimore? At $9 million. What's a position in need that you need, Dallas? Running back, defensive line, linebackers. I mean, you could have went and signed Dre Greenlaw that the 49ers lost. There's your linebacker. There's your LB1. Nope, we ain't got the money because you wait and you sit on your fingers and you're waiting for a fart bubble to grow and then you just don't pay these guys. So that's Jerry Jones doing what he does best.
Absolutely. And this is the thing that drives me crazy is we have seen other teams that have made significant moves to better their teams. And year after year, Jerry Jones continuously does the complete opposite. You got all of that money to spend on your great players. Spend the money. I mean, you lost out, and you talked about you hit the nail on the head there, Kev, with the running back, position. Tony Pollard, one of the greatest running backs of the modern NFL era. They let him walk. They let him walk. He was their best running back, not Ezekiel Elliott. And then what did Zeke do? Nothing. When he came back to the team, nothing. Then they got rid of him. Now you don't have a definitive number one running back, on
Nope.
that team. And
Well, Zeke had too many barbecue pulled pork sandwiches down there in Dallas, so he kind of became a fullback after so long.
this is true. This is true. This is true. Too many barbecue plates, and also too many donations to the Salvation Army. Um, but anyways, moving on. Do you want to talk about the division previews, and that is what we are here for, ladies and gentlemen. And if you've been following our show since we started this bad boy in 2021, when the month of August rolls around, we always start talking about our division previews on how we think each team is going to do in their respective conferences. And as we always start with the AFC. And as tradition, AFC North and the AFC South divisions are up first. And after you and I give our thoughts, I'm going to play the videos of Ezra and Joey, respectively, giving their thoughts on the AFC North and the AFC South divisions as well. So, to set the table, we'll start out with the AFC South, get the less division out of the way. I mean, obviously, you got the Colts, you got the Titans, the Texans, and the Jaguars. And Kev, as you and I know very well, the Texans for the last couple of years have been taking over the AFC South. And CJ Stroud, last year, coming off that incredible rookie year in 2023, heading into 2024, many, analysts and writers, across, the sports world, talking about CJ Stroud's, upstrides, and is he going to have the sophomore slump? And he kind of did, but CJ Stroud still, produced a pretty good year, but he didn't have the outright great numbers that he did in 23. But I think we can all agree that in the AFC South, this is the Texans division to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I just it's so bad that that even C.J. Stroud with a sophomore slump, even throughout all the injuries, they still are head and shoulders above the other three clowns in the AFC South. But I'm gonna go. I think the Titans are gonna be last. I mean, I think they make strides from last year. Obviously, I think Cam Ward's gonna do a lot of that. But outside of Cam Ward, they really haven't addressed absolute crap and don't got any weapons for them. I mean, you got a couple decent running backs. Ain't got no offensive line. Ain't got no defense. You ain't got crap. So I think the Titans will be last. They will be the bottom of the dumpster fire, at least for another year before they actually start getting better. But I do think Cam Ward is the lonesome silver lining out of that entire organization. Like if it wasn't for Cam Ward, that team might have zero. It might go 0-17, to be honest. But got the Titans at four. Third, I'm gonna go with everybody's favorite, the Jaguars. I mean, yeah, you never know. Some games Trevor Lawrence looked like he's playing for Clemson. In the other games, hell, Trevor Lawrence looked like he's I mean, Tyrod Taylor somewhere. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get. And I just don't think Travis Hunter is going to make that much of a difference being a wide receiver and cornerback. I mean, I think he's a unicorn of a player, a freak athlete, but wide receiver and cornerbacks don't usually change games. They're not game changers to determine wins or losses. I mean, you got to have a quarterback and you got to have coaching, and I really don't think the Jaguars have neither. Trevor Lawrence is the most overhyped quarterback coming out of college that hasn't that did absolute crap. And another thing, he can't never stay healthy. As soon as he starts looking decent and have a chance to be good, boom, a shoulder injury, boom, a throwing arm injury every single year. And I think it's no different. Second, obviously, it's the Colts. You never know. I think the Colts and the Jaguars will be close for that second spot, but the Colts got a decent team. They just you don't know who the fuck is going to be their quarterback. I mean, you got Daniel Jones and oh my god, you got Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. You don't know. But when I look at the Jaguars and I look at the Colts, here's the difference. Colts got an all-pro running back. They got Jonathan Taylor. If he can stay healthy, the Colts can heavily rely on that running game, and that's why I think I give them the edge to go second. Honestly, I'm not really predicting a win total. If I did, going Titans, I'm gonna say the Titans get 4 wins. 4 wins for the Titans. No, actually, I'm going three. I just don't 3 to 4, give or take. Jaguars. I think Jacksonville can get 6 wins. I think they go six. The Colts, I believe they go 6 or 7. I'm gonna say 7 to be nice. I'm gonna say 7 wins for the Colts. And the Texans, they got a kind of brutal schedule. I'm gonna go to Texans with 10 wins. I think the Texans go 10-7, or no, 10-7.
Yeah, I'm basically in agreement with you. I think that the Texans are going to have at at least 10 wins, but at best 11 wins. It just depends on how they finish because I mean, it just depends on how they deal with the non-division games because I mean, those games are, pick 'em games essentially. And when you think about, the task at hand, with this division on the teams that are not the Texans, like you said, the Colts have Jonathan Taylor, but he's like their only reliable weapon on offense. And their quarterback, the quarterback department is not the sharpest, parts of the team's, psyche. I mean, Daniel Jones, you know, this guy is bouncing around now and not having great years with the Giants, inconsistent. And, it's just Daniel Jones to me, he's not going to be starting over Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson, this guy cannot stay healthy. I mean, for the last 2 years, he has had injuries that have sidelined him throughout the majority of the season. And you cannot have any amount of success if you're not staying healthy. And the
And
Colt,
but
go ahead.
context is important here. There's a reason he can't stay healthy, and it's because he uses his body like he's damn Mick Foley or something. Like he's just gonna be a battering ram and just run through shit. And it's like, dude, you're a quarterback. You're getting late. You're getting smacked on a week to week basis by bigger linebackers, bigger defensive linemen. You're taking unnecessary hits trying to run the damn football. Just play quarterback, throw the ball, run only when you have to. I'm sorry, but I don't see Lamar Jackson, as little as he is, he don't take hits. He slides or he dives or he gets out of bounds or he avoids people. Anthony Richardson thinks he's a fucking fullback and he ducks his head trying to go head to head with someone like Fred Warner or Bobby Wagner. Like, what are you doing? You're gonna get hurt. You're asking to get hurt. I mean, ask Cam Newton, everybody's favorite, these beloved Panther fans. What happened when he kept trying to run the damn ball? His career went short real quick. He couldn't even throw the ball accurate no more after that last year. He couldn't even throw on a check down because his arm was so fucked up from taking hits. Quit playing like you're a damn fullback and play the quarterback position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as far as the Jaguars are concerned, I mean, they're a team that's so inconsistent. And even though they got, the rookie sensation, Hunter, a multitude player, at wide receiver and defensive back. But you and I know this very well that it is hard to play multiple positions in the pros because teams are going to attack you on both sides of the ball if you're going to attempt to play defensive back and an offensive player. And let's just throw this out there. If a Travis Hunter gets into a situation where the game is tight and he's having to play critical possessions on defense, and what if on offense the ball gets thrown to him and he drops it? Well, then that explains it that he's probably tired, from for playing on both sides of the football.
Yep.
Now to the better division, because 3 out of the 4 teams on paper are better. The AFC North. And this division is one of those divisions where any of the top 3 teams can win this division. First off, we got the Baltimore Ravens. They've been here for a while in the discussions of top teams in the National Football League. I mean, with their great quarterback, a dual threat in Lamar Jackson, and the acquisition of the King Derrick Henry last year, who had a great season, a great debuting season with the Ravens, and now that he's had 1 full year under his belt with the Ravens, I think Derrick Henry is poised to have another breakout season and smash even more records at the running back position. And Lamar Jackson is going to have another great year, I think. And the Ravens, they now we know how great their offense is, but their team has had a little bit of trials and tribulations over the last several months because their kicker Justin Tucker is no longer with the team.
Nope.
And it's going to be very fascinating to see how they do now with a new place kicker. And their defense, their defense is pretty solid, but sometimes their defense gets in their own way too, because there's times where their defense, even though sometimes it puts up good numbers, there's times where their defense in the most critical stages of games gets blown apart and torn apart. And then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers with their new acquisition at quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And I know the media is going to be up and down, with their pom-poms and going, yay, Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers. He's going to give them a chance to go to the Super Bowl, win their 7th Lombardi, and all of this happy, joy crap. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's a name. He had lots of great years with Green Bay, and then the last 2 years with the Jets, he didn't do jack. 1 year, obviously, he was injured, and then last year he was spending a lot of times on his ass because his offensive line couldn't protect him worth the crap. And they got a new weapon for Rodgers to throw to in DK Metcalf, and I mean, this team, they got some decent, pieces, but I'm not going to outright crown them as Super Bowl contenders because they got Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Like, you can have a great quarterback, of name value on paper, but again, as we all know, you got to have an offensive line to protect that quarterback.
Yep.
And then speaking of protecting that quarterback, the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that has been inconsistent with the protection of Joe Burrow. And again, that offensive line, you never know what you're going to get with that offensive line. That offensive line in 1 minute could be the greatest offensive line to block for any quarterback, and then the next minute, in the same breath and token, oh, they suck. And obviously, they got their two-headed beast at wide receiver in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But again, like we addressed last week with the Trey Hendrickson, controversy of him not getting paid, the Bengals' Achilles heel is their defense.
Yep.
And it's going to be interesting to see how the season progresses But Cincinnati on that defensive side of the football and the Cleveland Browns, the utter god dog pile of crap that is the Cleveland Browns. This team, I'm sorry, I don't give a damn who their quarterback is. They're going to finish last in the AFC North. I'm sorry. Now, with all that being said and setting the table, Kev, where do you see the AFC North shaping up?
I believe it's the Raven, like the Texans. I believe it's the Ravens' division to lose. I just think Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. That's honestly one of, if not the best duo in football on the offensive side of the ball. It's just so hard. I mean, obviously you got Burrow and Chase, and I mean, I they're up there. But when you got a monster like Lamar and Derrick Henry that can run the ball, they're going to run the ball down your throat. They're going to have big explosive plays. If the wide receivers can step up, and like you said, the defense don't keep crumbling under pressure, and if Mark Andrews stops having butterfingers and dropping the damn football, the Ravens are going to be hard to beat. They could be a favorite in the whole conference, not just the division. So I got the Ravens winning. I think the Ravens win 12 to 13 games. I just think they're that good.
Mmm.
I just don't see many flaws. And the fact that they drafted another safety, or they drafted another safety in the off season, and now you got Kyle Hamilton with Malachi Starks, who can literally cover anything. I mean, that's secondary scary. Don't forget the Ravens also acquired former All Pro corner Jair Alexander from the Packers.
That's
Ravens
right.
have a secondary that can lock anybody down, and they're going to need it for my next team. The number two, and here's where it gets dicey. Everybody thinks about Pittsburgh. I'm going Cincinnati. They literally had the shittiest year last year, and Joe Burrow was in finalists for MVP. They could not protect him, could not play defense, but here they are. They were still right there and had a chance to make the playoffs. They can't play no worse than they did last year. So this year, I believe that defense is a little bit better, and I believe that offensive line is a marginal amount better. And with that being said, that's my MVP pick right there. Joe Burrow.
Whoa!
Joe Burrow will win the MVP, and I'm gonna say the Bengals win 10 games. I believe they squeak in, get a wild card spot. I believe they still have them flaws on defense a couple times. That's why I'm saying 10 games. But if that defense can just be top 15, if they can be middle of the pack, Joe, I don't see how you can defend Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was a triple crown winner last year. T. Higgins is on the other side. I mean, they're tough, man. Joe Burrow, with all that fighting against him, finished in the final three of MVP with an insane year, by the way. I mean, hell, he threw for 400 on the Ravens in the second game and beat them. So I don't. I think just by them being able to at least band aid their flaws from last year, just be a little bit better, that's what gives me the confidence in Joe Burrow to win MVP as well as get a top tier wild card spot and be second in the division. Now, third is where people won't agree with. Pittsburgh does have a good roster. Do not get me wrong, but I believe they just ruined that. I believe the acquisition of all these old coots out there, and it looks like a damn retirement home. It ruined it. I mean, you got arguably the best defensive player in the planet, T.J. Watt. Guess what? You finally signed him. That's the only thing Pittsburgh did that right this season. So you mean to tell me you traded an all pro safety who is a ball hawk to for a burnt piece of toast like Jalen Ramsey? I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
guy gets burnt by everybody. He was getting ran by big fat Debo, and Debo done gained 50 pounds, and he was getting ran by Debo when he was on the 49ers. I don't understand Pittsburgh's logic with that. So what is he going to do when Cincinnati comes to town? Is he going to go one on one with Jamar Chase? Good luck. That's all I'm saying. And as far as the offense is concerned, what are you doing? I mean, at first, Pittsburgh fans are like, "Yeah, we got DK Metcalf." Then they go trade George Pickens. So what did you literally do? All you did, you didn't even go get a wide receiver number two. You basically got another wide receiver just to trade your other wide receiver. And now you're back to square one. You just essentially have another George Pickens, except this George Pickens is 6'5" and looks like he's on steroids, and he gets just as mad as George Pickens and throws hissy fits. The same damn player. I mean, and then don't get me started on this big old 80-year-old bandit at quarterback. Yes, Mr. Rogers. What are you doing? Pitts, Pittsburgh could have had anybody at quarterback. They could have had Mason Rudolph and had a better chance. Aaron Rodgers is 3 years past his prime. He's washed. He's not good anymore. It's time to call it quits, man. And with that being said, I'm calling it. This will be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. I believe they go 8-9. That's where
Wow.
I'm calling it. And what's that other team? Oh, the shit stain. Yeah, the Browns. Yeah, good fucking luck because you got a bunch of scrubs at quarterback. You got 6 quarterbacks on your roster, and all of them ain't worth the crap. So I mean, Joe Flacco's 80 years old, and he's outperforming all these young bucks. And he's damn 80. He's rolling around in a wheelchair. Speaking of retirement homes, I just Cleveland. I believe Cleveland will. I believe they'll compete within their own division. I believe they will get Baltimore. You remember I called it last year when they upset Baltimore, and people said I was stupid. Division games, you know how they work. Cleveland will give their division fits, and I could see them winning 2 or 3 just like that. But altogether, I got Cleveland winning 4 or 5 games. I think 5 games is the max, and I think that's all they get. I got Pittsburgh winning 8 games. I got Cincinnati winning 10 games and a wild card, and I got Baltimore winning 13 games. 12 is the floor.
Ooh. You know, I would say the Cleveland Browns are literally the equivalent. They are the football version of AEW because Tony Khan has so many wrestlers under contract and he doesn't use. And the Cleveland Browns have 6 quarterbacks. What the hell is going on? I mean, to have 6 quarterbacks on the chart, the depth chart. Have you lost your mind? I mean, come on. I mean, I understand it's one thing to have 3, but 6? Give me a freaking break.
Hey, I guess they were thinking like, I think they were thinking like how Nick Aldis was thinking with that TLC match at SummerSlam. Why have 2 or 3 teams when we can have 6?
Yeah, but the only
Fucking put
difference
them
is
all.
that TLC match actually delivered.
Yes, it was entertaining, unlike the Cleveland Browns offense, which is
The Cleveland Browns are not good enough.
nah, they're gonna be on the opposite end of the stick there. They're gonna be what their name represents, brown. They're gonna be brown, all right. They're gonna be shit stained brown trying to watch that offense.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But yeah, I agree. I think that the Ravens by far this is their division, like you said, to lose because I think they had the overall better roster. And man, what a bold pick by you, my friend. Joe Burrow, the 2025 MVP. I mean, I like it. I mean, I can't deny that. I mean, Kev, real quick before I get my thoughts, and just to piggyback off what you were saying, Cincinnati came in within a couple of games of making it to the playoffs
Yep,
and not
sure did.
having to play for their playoff lives.
Yep, sure did. And I mean, it's the NFL. Like I'm sure that the Bengals GM has seen how bad that team was last year on defense and protecting Joe Burrow. And I'm sure this offseason they made some adjustments, maybe something within the scheme, maybe personnel. But I'm sure they're going to at least get a little better. It don't have to be like, oh, they're going to be like the Ravens defense or prime 49ers defense from a couple years ago. They're not going to have to do that. They just get Joe Burrow the ball and give him some time. Just hold your own. That's all. Just hold your own weight. You ain't got to go shut nobody down, catch picks all day. Just get Joe Burrow the football back. That's all you got to do. Joe Burrow is one of the best players in the National Football League. Jamar Chase is one of the best players in the National Football League. Get them the rock back. I mean, yeah, that's just it. We've seen what Tom Brady to Randy Moss looked like. We knew that Patriots defense, even though they were good, we didn't. They knew they didn't have. There wasn't no pressure. They didn't have to go shut teams down. Just give Brady and Moss the ball back. That was it. And that's what the Bengals mindset needs to be. Just give Joe Burrow the ball back and let's get him rolling. That's it.
And that's the thing. When Joe Burrow has protection on the offensive side of the football to stand there in the pocket and
He
scan the
delivers.
defense, he delivers.
Yeah, that's a bad boy. That's a bad boy. To
I'm
be
scared
honest,
of that man. To be on, especially when he's on the run. Like he's to me more dangerous when he's on the run throwing the ball.
if you take out Patrick Mahomes and say, give me a quarterback that you need just passing, who are you taking? I'm going Joe Burrow or Josh or Lamar all day, every day. When it comes to throwing the football, I mean, he's your traditional Peyton Manning like quarterback. He's going to stand in there and zip dots to his receivers and not make many interceptions either. I mean, Joe Burrow doesn't make very many mistakes playing quarterback.
Because there was times last year, even in games when he did throw a pick or two, he would still be in there just throwing it, just gunning it, just start just slinging it, and that is the true definition of a quarterback.
No,
When you
I
can still
also
go
I
ahead.
love his lead. I love his leadership, dude. If you ever watched Netflix and watched that series Quarterback, you would see the defense was getting smoked, and I believe it was the Ravens game where that game was like 38-35. The Bengals won. Zach Taylor was kind of low key celebrating, like, yeah, okay, that's how we come through in adversity. You know what Joe Burrow says? He doesn't sit there and say, yay, we won. He said, we look fucking pathetic. We need to fix this shit. Yes, we won, but we look fucking pathetic. Let's get better. And that is a leader. That's a guy you want running your team because you know this offseason they're going to take them words to heart and they're going to try to get better. And that's if they can get Trey Hendrickson back and get him unsigned, big deal. I mean that's a start. You got your best pass rusher back. Well, so we'll see if they can do that. That's where they need to start at right now.
Man, that is absolutely spot on. I know I haven't checked that out yet, but I know it's got to be good, and it's really fascinating, to sit here and think that Burrow knows this team, and even though there were games that were winning, he still is critical, and it's great to be critical, even in a win, because that shows you that you care about the results of your team and how you're doing, and the fact that Burrow cares, enough to be saying these things. Like that takes a real man, to be expressing your true feelings
Yeah.
in wins and in losses, obviously. So yeah, but I agree. I think that this is the Ravens' division to lose, and Cincinnati. I agree also with you that I think that Cincinnati is going to be right there with Baltimore, and it wouldn't surprise me if these two are gunning for that division. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, like you just mentioned, Kev. I mean, there is no way in the world I'm going to sit here with a straight face and say that the Pittsburgh Steelers are Super Bowl bound because it's not gonna happen. Aaron Rodgers has not been at peak Aaron Rodgers probably in the last, probably I would say 4 or 5 years. Aaron Rodgers during those final 2 great years with Green Bay, those were his final sequences of being in the peak of his career. Because in the last year with Green Bay, and then his 1 year with the Jets, that was enough to tell me that this dude is past his prime. He is
Mm.
past his lasting, impact on the field. You know, and we all know that professional athletes don't play forever. Father Time is undefeated. But Aaron Rodgers, I feel like he's desperate for another Super Bowl championship. He is desperate for a second ring because that's the only thing that Aaron Rodgers has is that one Super Bowl. with Green Bay 15 years ago. And Rodgers is going to his third team. And I don't care if he's going to one of the most prestigious franchises in sports history. But the fact of the matter is this: if the offensive line of Pittsburgh does not protect him, he's going to be spending most times, like he did with the Jets, on his back, because he was sacked so many times last year. And against the Ravens, against the Bengals,
Yep.
you know that the Bengals are hungry even more to play Pittsburgh because of the simple fact that Aaron Rodgers is on the other side of the field.
Yep.
And the Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns. They're going to finish dead last. I mean, I got Baltimore, I would say, at least 13 wins, but at best 14 wins.
Okay.
Cincinnati, I would say I got them winning at least 11 games, but at the most, I say 12.
Okay.
Pittsburgh, I have, if they're lucky enough, I would say, okay, here's my scenarios. If they have a pretty solid effort, they're going to win at least 10 games. But if they underachieve, it would not surprise me if they go 8-9 or 7-10.
Yep.
So those are my three scenarios: either 10-7, 8-9, like you are predicting, or even worse, 7-10. And the Cleveland Browns
I
are
say
going
one
to
Steeler fan said they were going to go 16-1.
Ha!
I said, well, you're going to be rather shocked by week 5. That's going to be busted.
I hope that God he didn't bet any money on that, because good God, if he did that, you'd be out of a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it might have been the same dude who bet $500 on the Carolina Panthers to win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, for the love of Christ, get out of here with that.
$20,000. Yeah, go ahead.
The Carolina Panthers Super Bowl bound. Yay! Yay!
Yeah, I got a better ways to spend $500 than to bet my money on the Carolina Panthers. But that's another discussion for another day.
Absolutely. I mean, good Lord. What Yeah, I would say Cleveland. They're probably I would say they're gonna win at least. I would say either probably 4 games, 5 games, something like that.
5 trips to the massage parlor.
And I brought it up. I brought it up on show and discussions with people. What if Justin Tucker did get signed by Cleveland? How fitting would it be?
What Cleveland massage parlors? Beware everywhere.
Oh God! No
Boy.
wonder. No wonder Justin Tucker's game was off last year, because he was too busy thinking about massages. Like, come on, come on. But yeah, so that is our thoughts on the NFL divisions for the AFC North and the AFC South. And before I throw it to Kevin, or not Kevin, to Ezra and to Joey's videos, I do want to bring this up, and that is there was a contract that was announced several hours ago that one Kyron Williams has signed a 3-year deal with the Los Angeles Rams. Very good move by LA keeping their running back. See, Dallas? That's called making moves.
Now if they can just stick Stafford in a retirement home, they can work their way back up.
Yeah, because I mean, Lord knows, I mean, Matthew Stafford's going to need to be built up, like one of these androids or whatever. I don't
Every
know.
time you turn around, he's missing practice with a sore back. Like, come on, old man, put some of that Shaquille O'Neal icy hot on it and get back out there.
I mean, Kev. I mean, my back would be hurting if I had to carry that franchise all the time. I mean, no offense, but I digress. But
Yeah, that's like Nate Robinson carrying Big Baby Davis around. Good luck.
oh man. Um, but yeah, before we continue, I do want to play these two videos back to back. First, I'm gonna play Ezra's video that he sent to me a couple of hours ago before we went live.
Hold on a second, Steven. There was just breaking news by Adam Schefter
Well, we
that
got
six-time Pro Bowl Keenan Allen, who left the Chargers and went to the Bears, obviously, is re-signing a one-year deal with the Chargers.
whoa, interesting.
So back to the Chargers with Lad McConkey and all them guys.
Man, that right there just bolstered the Chargers offense already because now that you got one of your weapons back,
Yep.
man, oh man, like that is huge for the Chargers.
Yep. Jim Harbaugh is in his underwear screaming, "Who's got it better than us?"
Nobody.
I can see it now.
Yep, yep. I know one Jim Harbaugh is saying that, and I know also Jim Harbaugh is thinking, "Don't go messing around with Jim," because he's bad. Um, but like I said, I do want to play these videos. First I'll play like I said Ezra's video that he sent. Let me get this going. And so like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be playing these two videos back to back, and Kevin and I will be back here in a few minutes. So with that, without further ado, here is our boy Ezra giving his thoughts on the AFC North and the AFC South.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ezra Vickery here from our Nisha's Sports Show, and sorry I could not be on there tonight. I had a last-minute family emergency come up. A family member got sick with a fever, very high one at that. So after I get done recording this video, I'm going to head up to the hospital for a little bit, see what's going on, and hope for the best. But figured I'd come on here and give my picks for the AFC North and the AFC South. And I'm excited for the return of football this week on our local stations here. Of course, Chicago Bears starting up, Bear down all the way. And I can't wait to talk about the NFC North with the Bears next week. Obviously, though, let's get into the AFC North, AFC South. The AFC North is a tough division. Well, I mean, it's tough in a sense if they can keep everything together. Now, as far as my picks go, and this is what the show is about, is the picks. Obviously, I have the Ravens. They're gonna do well this season, of course. Lamar Jackson playing like he always does, man. It's a feat that guy can play as good as he does. I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna give them a season 13-4. They're gonna lose a couple of good games, get some competitors in their division, but maybe get some other side rivals. But I don't see nobody taking the Ravens out of the top of the AFC North. There's just no doubt about it. Okay, let's just keep it at that. Next on my list, I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals have had some issues lately. Obviously, changes in personnel. Definitely some big changes in personnel. But you still got the King. You got Joe Burrow. You got Joe Mixon. You got the whole crew. And to me, they could take the top spot, but I think they're just going to be on the cusp, and they're going to be either a top seed in wild card, or they're going to be a top seed period in or they're going to be in the top 8 in the division. We'll see what happens from there. But I give them a record of 11-6. They're going to come close to the Bengals, but they're not going to do as well as the Bengals are. Obviously, next I'm going to go to the Cleveland Browns. And the Cleveland Browns, they're dealing with a quarterback situation. Most of their quarterbacks are injured. The only ones left is Joe Flacco, excuse me, who they signed in the offseason. And the other guy, Ty Huntley, who they just signed yesterday or today. And it's a very crazy process right now in Cleveland. And I don't know what their deal is. I don't know if they're going to get everything together. Obviously, with your original starting quarterback and your other backup hurt, and you have nobody else but the former Super Bowl champion who's beyond that now as far as prime and years on the field. I don't know. The record for those guys, I'm going to give them. I'm not going to give them a favorable one. I'm going to give them 8-9, maybe 7-10. They're going to get some wins, but it's going to be by pure luck. Some of them are. And then finally, the Steelers. Story of the Steelers. It's been nuts. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers situation. Making sure TJ Watt is locked down, which they did get. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers signed for 1 year, what may be his final year as a player. And especially coming off the unfortunate Achilles tear that he suffered that cost him the whole season last season. So when it comes down to it, it's going to be a rough road for Pittsburgh. And as much as marks them, I'm sorry, but they're going to be towards the bottom of the entire NFL, and I'm going to give them a record of 4-13. It's just the growing pains, new quarterback, everything, just all together. I think it's just going to be a problem. I think we're going to have some issues there. But that's it for the AFC North. And let's get into the AFC South. And this one is a little tougher to call. It's a little bit tougher. I can tell you one thing. I picked the Tennessee Titans are going to be at the bottom of the division. Will Levis is out with an injury that took him out for the rest of the season. Nagy's shoulder injury that he had to have emergency surgery on, so now he's done for the year. You look at that. You look at when you look at some of the changes they made during the draft. They got some good picks, but it's not going to be enough to change their fortunes around too much. They're going to be at the bottom of their division as well. Look, I love Tennessee and I love Nashville. It's like my second home, Smashville, baby. But I got to go with them. Oof. I'm going to give them a 3-14. It's going to be a rough one. It really is. Next up, I'm going to go with the Jags. Jags, I think, despite the changes they made, in getting in certain numbers in the draft and certain people they signed in the offseason, it's another one where it's still going to be the same old story, same old song and dance, my friend. And Steven, you'll appreciate that because that's, of course, an Aerosmith reference. But it's hard to tell. Tony and Shah Khan's team, is they've had some moments, some shining moments from that team. And for Trevor Lawrence and whoever else has been at quarterback for that team in the past, Gardner Minshew and and all that. So they're going to be, I think, 6 and I'm going to give them 6-12. Yeah, they're going to be definitely better than Tennessee, but nowhere near the wild card round. Now we go between the Texans and the Colts. It's a tough one. I'm going to go with the Colts. Colts. They made some changes. Offseason, of course, they're going to have motivation this year with the passing of Jim Irsay. They lost their owner earlier this year, and it's been a rough go for those guys. I mean, they were able to have some great experiences Indy has with the Royal Rumble in January, but then losing Jim Irsay only a couple of months ago was a big blow to the city of Indianapolis and just Indianapolis sports in general. So, with that being said, it's They're going to be playing their hearts out, and they're going to be playing with every bit of energy and fire they have to do Jim Pratt. And I think that's going to be a motivational key. It's going to come to some key wins for them. And I'm going to give them an 8-9. I'm going to give them an 8-9 season, enough to get them into the wild card round. And then finally, the Houston Texans. Now, I'm not saying Houston Texans are going to be like the Baltimore Ravens and have an all-star mighty record. Come on, it's not going to happen. But when it comes down to it, and it comes down to the Houston Texans they have great receivers. They have great defensive players. They made a lot of noise last season. And I have a feeling C.J. Stroud is only going to learn from this, and he's going to be an even better quarterback this season. And that's what I expect from a lot of these second, third, fourth year quarterbacks, guys like Caleb Williams and others who are involved in this. And also we got some new rookie quarterbacks starting up as well. So I'm excited. I am definitely excited to see this. Texans, I'm going to give them 10-7. Yeah, I'm going to give Texans 10-7 for this season. And real quick, I don't want to make this video too long because obviously I know Steven and of course Joey, who's got a video too, got a lot of thoughts. If they didn't play Joey's video before mine, which I call BS on. Just kidding. It was news today that Shedeur Sanders, is going to start the season. Preseason opener instead of any of the others. So instead of Ty Huntley or Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett. And I forgot they had Kenny Pickett too, former Super Bowl champ with the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, the Buccaneers brought aboard Teddy Bridgewater, which I think is a smart pick. Teddy has been coaching, hasn't played in a number of years, but I think he'll do just fine. It's not like he's been probably not throwing and practicing himself on the side. So hopefully he's game ready for whatever, if he needs to be available for the Bucs. Also, let me check here real quick. Also, it's been a crazy week in the world of sports. And real quick, 2 nights SummerSlam, amazing. Great job by everybody involved. Shocking moments. I mean, obviously, Seth cashing Money in the Bank was a big shock to me because I thought Punk was going to have a nice reign as world champ. Didn't happen. Here we are with the Vision. And now, also, too, the return of the Beast. And I'll leave it at that. But what a great weekend it was. GCW, WWE, everybody put up their game, busted open, did an awesome job with their tailgate. Definitely want to see that. And also, happy birthday to Violetta today. I want to wish her happy birthday as well. So we'll leave it at that. Enough rambling, enough shit. You know what to do. Follow all the socials we have. Follow 2 Sweet Cosplay, 2 Sweet Cosplay across those socials. Nation's Corner, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time most Saturdays. YouTube.com/Nation's Corner. And you can find them on their social media. Just search Nation's Corner or The Nation's Corner and find them, like, subscribe, share with your friends. That's enough for me. I got to get going to the hospital. So catch you guys next week. And maybe I'll catch you guys on Nation's Corner too if they need me. So I'll see you all next week. Peace out. Have a great weekend. Same time, same YouTube channel. Peace out, everybody.
Real quick, before we get to Joey's videos, I do want to bring this up. Holy shit. Having Pittsburgh at the bottom of the AFC North. Hot take. Hot take. Wow. Hot take by Ezra. Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you to Ezra for sending in that video. And up next on the docket, it is Joey's video giving his thoughts on the AFC North and the AFC South. And we will be back right here in just a few minutes. So here is Joey's video.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Hope everybody is having an amazing Tuesday. Hate that I couldn't be on the show tonight, but sometimes you gotta do things that you don't really want to do, especially if it means working late, which is what I'm doing this evening. But I was not gonna let this show slip by without giving my thoughts on the NFL season, or in this case, the first two conferences for our 4-week NFL conference preview. So I believe today was the AFC North and the AFC South. So without further ado, or actually before I get into that, I do want to touch on two quick subjects really fast. As far as the Terry McLaurin trade request from the Commanders, I mean, I have seen some reports saying that he might get traded, and I've seen other reports that he might, or that he will not get traded. But this is something that we see all the time. A star receiver or a star player of any sort demands a trade request because of contract talks stalling, and then I say usually about a couple weeks later, they get signed to that extensive contract that they've been talking about. So I really think this is just a step in expediting the process for Terry McLaurin, and as far as the Micah Parsons situation in Dallas is going, I mean, I don't know what to believe at this point. I mean, I don't know if Micah wants to stay in Dallas or not, but I don't know. Jerry Jones just likes to cause drama. He thinks the world of it because his whole life is nothing but a drama series. A drama series that I will not and would not be tuning into for any reason whatsoever. So we'll just see what happens with that. But yeah, let me go back now to the AFC North and the AFC South. The AFC North is up first, and that is the division for Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. I'm gonna go from the bottom up like I always do. As far as last place in the AFC North, I mean, come on. It's got to be the train wreck known as the Cleveland Browns. I mean, Cleveland has had so much trouble as of late, and they may think that they have the quarterbacks to guide them to the promised land, which in this case would be a winning season, but they just don't have it anymore. They just do not have it. I mean, this is not the glory days of the 1980s and early 90s when Bernie Kosar was their quarterback. This is definitely not those times anymore. At least for Cleveland's sake. So yeah, Cleveland, you're finishing dead last. I'll say a record of, at best, 4-13. At worst, 3-14. Number 3. Despite the fact that they got DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers and re-signing TJ Watt to that huge extension, Pittsburgh, I'm sorry, but you're finishing third place. Because Baltimore and Cincinnati have better teams on paper than Pittsburgh does. I'm sorry to say. And I know that's one thing that has never happened in his coaching career is the fact that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. I'm not saying it'll happen this year, but this will be the one year that it does happen, if it were to happen. So I would say at best Pittsburgh, I would say 9-8 for them. At worst, I would say 7-10, maybe 8-9. But yeah, I would say at best 9-8, at worst 7-10. Second place, I would say Cincinnati, because Cincinnati does have that high prolific offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. But that defense, they just have way too many holes right now. Even though Trey Hendrickson is back in Bengals training camp, the Bengals had a lot of problems with their defense last year, and quite honestly, they didn't really get much better at that in this offseason. True, they drafted a defensive end in the first round, but he didn't literally sign his rookie contract until, 2.5 weeks ago? Because he was so griped about guaranteeing money, even though he's not worth it. So, yeah, Cincinnati, despite that high prolific offense, they're finishing second. At best, for Cincinnati, I would say maybe 11-6. At worst, 10-7. For Baltimore, this is obviously their division, because Baltimore just looks great on both sides of the ball. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and the fact that the Ravens were able to pick up DeAndre Hopkins in free agency, giving Lamar Jackson another receiver. And that defense is just really stout. There really is no doubt in my mind that Baltimore is the team to beat in the AFC North. So I would say for Baltimore, I would say anywhere between 13-4 and 12-5 as far as their record. Now, I'm going to go a little bit quicker when it comes to the AFC South. The AFC South is Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee, and Jacksonville. Number 4, despite the fact that they got the number 1, or they had the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, Tennessee, they still have too many holes. And I feel like Tennessee, this is a rebuilding year for them. They need to get better on both sides of the ball, especially the defensive side of the ball, because despite the fact that they now have Cam Ward, who is a rookie, and Tony Pollard, they still need help on both sides of the ball. So I would say definitely Tennessee is going to finish last. I would say Tennessee, I'll give them 5-12. Maybe 4-13 at the worst. Third place I have Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, I mean, they have something special going on from their days at Clemson, but it just seems like they're having trouble gelling on the football field against meatier opponents. And I mean, Jacksonville, they can win some games if they wanted to, but it just seems like they don't have the skill set to do so. So, Jacksonville, I'll put them in either 7-10 or 6-11. Number 2, I would say Indianapolis. I mean, there's not really much I could say about Indianapolis. I mean, Anthony Richardson is still trying to get his feet wet. Jonathan Taylor's still one of the best running backs in the league. The defense, led by Shaquille Leonard, is looking okay. I would say the Colts, though, there's still some things that need to get repaired, especially that offensive line, because I know Anthony Richardson is a scrambler, but the Colts, they still need help on that offensive line. So I think they're going to finish second. I'll probably put the Colts at like 9-8, maybe 10-7 if they get lucky. which leads me, of course, to number one. That, of course, is the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud. He's going to have all of his receivers back. Nico Collins, Tank Dell. He's got Joe Mixon back there in the backfield. And the Texans were actually able to bring in former Cleveland Browns running back Nick Chubb. And I believe, based on what I've been seeing, he's going to be their third down running back to start. But still, having Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb, if Nick Chubb is to go back to what he was before he got hurt, that could be a pretty nice running back duo back there. But yeah, for the Texans, I would say 12-5, maybe 11-6. Or actually, no, switch that. 11-6, maybe 12-5. But yeah, that is my coverage for the AFC North and the AFC South. Again, I hate I couldn't be on the show tonight, but sometimes duty calls. In that case, that was the case for this week. But I should be back in the chair next week for the AFC East and the AFC West. But so until then, enjoy the rest of the show. Peace. I'm out.
That was Ezra and Joey's videos. Thank you very much to those gentlemen for sending in their videos of giving their analysis on the AFC North and the AFC South, and a great job by our very own Kevin as well for talking about a little bit of NBA and a lot of NFL. And again, if you missed the breaking news was just announced that Keenan Allen is rejoining the Los Angeles Chargers. And this is a great pickup for the Chargers once again, reuniting the tandem of Keenan Allen and obviously Justin Herbert. And also shout outs here in the chat to Don here in the chat. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing great. And before we wrap this show up here tonight, I would not be remiss if I did not bring up SummerSlam from over the weekend. Overall, I thought it was a really, really fun show over the weekend. I thought night 2 was better than night 1. But night 1 still had some great stuff. Obviously, you had the tag match with Jay and Roman versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Really good overall match. I loved the fact that the tag match with Jelly Roll and Randy and McIntyre and Logan Paul was pretty solid. That was fun. Shout outs to Jelly Roll. That dude busted his ass, wrestling that night. And just getting ready for the match and losing. Michael Cole said 230 pounds on commentary. Like, wow, it's incredible. And incredible that he put the effort to get ready for this occasion, to be in the ring and to work, and a really, really good overall performance by everybody involved. And really cool spot with Logan Paul with the spot that Jelly rolled through the table. That was really cool. Also, as well, shout outs to CM Punk and Gunther for having one hell of a match. This match was so good. I thought it was perfect. Nothing bad about the match. I thought everybody played their parts very well. It was a really good match by everybody involved. Over 20 plus minutes of just on the edge of your seat action. I mean, just the psychology that Gunther has. He is such a well-rounded performer in the ring. Just an incredible specimen, and just he makes it believable, and he's just so good at what he does. And CM Punk, as always, put on a great performance as well. Him and Gunther had great chemistry in the ring. And And the one thing that sticks out with me on this match is what I love the most is that not a lot of usages of finishing moves. They used the finishing moves the right way when you're doing matches like this, the standard matches. And the usage of blood, I thought, was great as well. And just a great performance by two very talented professionals. Punk, in the end, defeated Gunther with a second GTS to win the world title, his first world title victory in 12 years. But just when we thought the show was going off the air, and real quick, also, shout outs to Punk. Emotions running high. Cradling the title like a child. Holding on to that title. And just in the moment, just the story that Gunther and that Punk told him in that ring. Fantastic. Just the ebbs, the flows. They went to 1. They went to 2, went to 3, so on and so forth. And then before you know it, they ramped it up to 10. Just like that. Just building. Just the intensity of the match just kept building as the match progressed. And it was just a perfect display of pro wrestling when it's done the correct way. Punk gets the victory with a second GTS, crying in the middle of the ring. Just a lot of emotions coming out. The fans obviously cheering for him, standing ovation, giving him his flowers. And just when you thought the show was over with the lower third, you hear "Burn It Down." And you know when you hear that, you know who's coming out. And when Seth Rollins came out, I was like, holy shit. No way they're going to do this. And when I read the comments, and obviously with me being a blind fan and reading the comments on what he did, it was excellent how he favoring the knee and with the brace and the crutches. And, oh, I got this. I'm just letting you know I got this briefcase. And enjoy it while you can and all of that. And then he turns around. And the one thing that nobody is really talking about is how when he dropped the crutches, it was in unison to the lyrics, "Burn It Down," when the song, kept playing. That was just a nice little detail, I thought. And shout outs to ref Jessica Carr. Jessica Carr absolutely made this even bigger. No stupid faces, no weird reactions like, oh, what's going on? She went out there and she meant business. She knew the assignment on what to do, no messing around, and went out there and just played her role as the referee. I know it's a small little detail, but it's a detail that needs to be said. Very well done by everybody involved. Just when you thought the heist of the century 10 years ago with Lesnar and Reigns was something, and that was as well, but the ruse of the century with Rollins duping every single one of us with the quote-unquote knee injury, unbelievably well done by everybody involved. And then heading into night 2, kicking off with the triple threat, and no surprise, those 3 women, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Naomi, went out there and put on a hell of a match. Not surprised. Naomi, Rhea, and Io put on a great match. And then, my God, a 6-man team. 6 teams, 12 men, tables, ladders, and chairs. Holy shit. This was insane. I, honest to God, did not want this to end. It was that good. It over delivered. And shout outs to everybody involved, especially shout outs to Candice LeRae. My God, what a bump. What's madness? That was incredible. Just everybody in this match, whether they were in the match or they were interfering for their respective teams, getting involved. Uncle Howdy and B-Fab and, like I said, Candice LeRae. Everybody getting involved. Eric Rowan getting involved. Everybody getting involved. And just, it reminded me of the first TLC. And then when the interferences started happening, I'm like, yep, this is TLC 2 all over again. Because obviously TLC 2 had Spike Dudley and Lita and Rhino interfering in that match. The bumps that everybody took. The ladder bumps. The table bumps. Just, it was a car crash. It was insane. It was just over the top. Ladder matches have always scared me with the risk that these athletes take. It was just jaw-dropping. The just the athleticism at full display. Very well done by everybody involved. TLC match was great. Wyatt Six retained the titles. Also, shout outs to Dom, Dirty Dom, and AJ Styles. Shout outs to Dominic especially. Dominic Mysterio coming out and channeling his inner Eddie Guerrero at times in this match. And AJ Styles too. I mean, just a professional's professional. The dude ages like fine freaking wine. I love the utilization of the lie, cheat, and steal gimmick that Eddie did in his career. Dominic executed that very well. Thought that match was pretty solid. Now, Lyra and Becky, I thought the match was I thought it was pretty good. But obviously the spot with the zip tie, that did not go well. And I mean, what more can I say? I mean, shit happens. It's live TV. Shout outs to those ladies. I thought it was a pretty good match. It's just that I think that I think two people focus on the zip tie spot, and I get it. It was an incident. It was a botch. But hey, it's live TV. Shit happens. Bayley got involved and cost Lyra the match. And as long as Becky is champion, Lyra cannot challenge for the Women's Intercontinental title. And I do want to bring this up. The main event. John Cena, Cody Rhodes. Street fight. My God. This was a spectacle. This was John Cena's best match in a very long time. This was Cena's best match alone in this retirement tour so far. John Cena turned back the clock 15 years ago and was showing up and showing out moves that he has not done hardly at all in his career. Him and Cody Rhodes went out there, and that Jersey crowd, 95% of that crowd was on John Cena's side. And I had a prediction in my head on where I thought the main event was going to go. I thought that Cena was going to turn. and swerve everybody again. But then again, I'm glad to be wrong. Because we as wrestling fans today in the modern era, we all think of things in our heads on how we think storylines are going to play out. And for the longest time, I kept thinking that John Cena was going to drop the title either in his hometown of Boston, Massachusetts, or he was going to drop it on his last appearance in WWE for this year. But I was wrong. We all were thinking there's going to be shenanigans. It's going to be overbooked, with outside interferences. But we didn't get that. We just got a good, clean fight by two baby faces. This was the spectacle of spectacles. Because when you get a John Cena match that is high profile in WWE, it's going to be a spectacle. And this over-delivered. Cody and Cena throwing everything but the literal kitchen sink at one another. The table spots. Just some of the creativity that they had in this match. Very well done by everybody involved. And I know a lot of people are going to harp on, there's going to be some people that are going to harp on the endless kickouts with the finishing moves. But hey, if you're an AEW fan, you like that type of stuff too. Don't deny it. If you're an AEW fan and you love the way AEW books their matches, with a lot of these big matches having these false finishes, making you think it's over, don't come at me with that bullshit. Because don't be a hypocrite. Cody Rhodes and John Cena went out there and had a babyface versus babyface match for 37 minutes and absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark. I mean, what was so crazy about this match is the crowd at times was chanting Super Cena. I mean, this is the same crowd who was tired of John Cena during the height of his run, during the prime of his run, where they were tired of Super Cena, as they were calling him, dominating the people that they wanted to see him dominate. Not dominate, excuse me. All the darlings, all of the favorites that wrestling fans 15, 20 years ago that wanted to see Big Match John lose to and beat him. Years later, the crowd chanting Super Cena. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Everything from 3 Crossroads being delivered, kick out. The timing on these kickouts, also incredible. John Cena with 3 AAs, including a super AA from the top rope. Cody still kicked out. This was awesome. And this by far was way better than their WrestleMania 41 match. Alone, because no interference, no shenanigans, just 2 great professional wrestlers going out there, busting their asses for our entertainment. Cody Rhodes and John Cena put on one of the best matches for 2025. And so did CM Punk and Gunther the night before on Saturday. Cody Rhodes, in the end, defeats John Cena with a Crossroads and wins his second WWE Championship. And then Cena and Cody embracing one another at the end of the show. John telling Cody, "This is the best I got." and just the instant show of respect. And again, a lot of us were thinking Cena's gonna pull he's gonna fool us all. That old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. A lot of us were thinking this. The majority of us were thinking that there was going to be a swerve. But we were wrong. Just when you think you know it all about professional wrestling, you don't. John Cena and Cody Rhodes at the end of that match showed respect to one another. Cody Rhodes left the ring and gave John Cena the ring. And essentially, that was the passing of the torch. And I thought that passing of the torch, like I said, was going to happen at the end of the year of Cena's run. But I was wrong. The crowd in MetLife chanting to Cena, "Thank you, Cena," over and over again, giving him his flowers. And then the biggest, holy shit, literally moment of the weekend. The Beast, Brock Lesnar, returned. And just to give y'all a glimpse into this return, for those that were there watching on Zoom, I popped so loudly. I screamed because I was shocked. I was thinking there's no way Brock's going to come out during or after the Cena and Cody match, because for the longest time, I kept thinking Gunther and Brock were going to face each other, because I thought Brock was going to return after one of Gunther's world title matches. But that didn't happen. And again, I'm happy to be wrong when I'm wrong. Brock Lesnar, his music hits, Michael Cole screaming, "What? Holy shit." It was great. Michael Cole losing his mind. And the crowd in that stadium, as soon as the hit, they knew what was up. They knew what was happening. Brock comes out, and the crowd popped instantly. An instant holy shit chant. Just unbelievable. None of these dirt sheet riders didn't have a clue that Brock was going to return. Because, sorry, not everybody needs to know everything that goes on in professional wrestling. Sometimes the best kept secrets are those that are kept a secret. What a moment. What a return. Brock Lesnar returning to the WWE for the first time in 2 years. Coincidentally, his last appearance was at SummerSlam in Detroit, Michigan in 2023 when he took on Cody Rhodes in an instant classic. Brock putting over Cody, giving him the four corners of the ring treatment, putting him over, raising his hands, declaring to Cody that he is the guy, and Brock does not do that for very many people. And what a shocking moment that was. Triple H was not lying when he said, "Just when you think you've seen it all, you ain't seen nothing yet." And he was not lying. He was not lying. Now, those are the big highlights for me that stick out for me. I do want to bring up Jacob Fatu and Solo real quick from night 2. Really cool spot with Jacob at the end, getting that big moment, even in defeat, scaling the cage and having that moment. Thought the match was pretty good. Solo and Jacob always laying their stuff in. But the one thing that is my biggest criticism of the weekend, and that's Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn. That match was so underwhelming. And Karrion Kross, to me, and a lot of people have expressed their thoughts on social media, saying that Karrion Kross should have won. The crowd in attendance was not happy. The crowds in the last several weeks, since Sami and Karrion's storyline has been progressing, have all been saying, we want Kross. We want Kross. Because Karrion Kross has the it factor. Karrion Kross, just like Roman Reigns, he has a presence when he enters the room. And Karrion Kross, to me, should have won this match against Sami Zayn. The match was short. It felt very underwhelming. I was not a fan of it. Especially not a fan of the finish. Karrion Kross should have won this match. And I hope that this is not the end of this for Karrion Kross, because I think Kross deserves much better. I think Kross down the line needs to be in the world title picture. And I hope that the WWE listens to the fans, because a lot of people like what Karrion Kross does when he is on our television screens or the clips that he posts on social media. And Jade and Tiffany, I want to talk about that briefly for night one as well. Bottom line is this: as much as Jade is got the charisma, she's got that it factor, I don't think Jade is ready to be a champion. I think the right person won. Tiffany wins again in a very short match, 7 minutes and 5 seconds to be exact. But those are my thoughts on the NFL, the NBA, and professional wrestling. And again, shout outs to our very own Kevin for joining me here tonight, and shout outs to Ezra and to Joey for sending in their videos here to be played live on the air for tonight. And this is going to be one hell of a ride, ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our NFL coverage for the year of 2025. This week, we started out with the AFC North and the AFC South, and next week, that tradition continues as we wrap up the AFC conference with the AFC East and the AFC West. And thank you to Don here in the chat joining here tonight. And for those that tune in on demand, thank you very much as well. You can follow us on Twitter or X at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/NationSports Show, and where we are live on most Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific at YouTube.com/NationSports Show. Also, don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook, Instagram, and where they are live on most Saturday nights, where it is all right for fighting and talking a little pro wrestling. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook pages, all at the Nation's Corner. And again, folks, thank you for tuning in tonight. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And we will see you next week talking about the AFC North and the AFC East and the AFC West, as we wrap up the AFC conference with our talks on the AFC East and the AFC West divisions, respectively. And looking forward to that as well. You can follow us on our individual Twitter accounts. You can follow me at Steven_Wyand. You can also follow Ezra Vickery at Deadman469. You can also follow Joey at Roll_Tide1992. And you can also follow our very own Kevin at That Niner Gang 10. And also follow our boy Hijacker Mike at Mr. Mac on Twitter, and his cigar page, Smoke in the Bay, THA Bay. If you are a cigar aficionado, this is the Twitter channel and also his YouTube channel. Smoke in the Bay as well. Again, THA Bay. And with that being said, this show is a wrap. Again, thank you for everybody tuning in, whether live or on demand. This has been a great first episode of our Nation Sports Show for the month of August as we begin our coverage of the NFL season for 2025. Starting out tonight with the AFC North and the AFC South. And next week, it's the AFC East and the AFC West divisions. From here on out, all the way to Super Bowl 60 and Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, coast to coast, every single day around the world, our Nation Sports Show has you covered throughout the entire regular season, postseason, and the Super Bowl for the National Football League. So with that being said, for K-Rod, Kevin Rory, for JT, Joey Thornton, for Ezra Vickery, for Randy Gyron, for William Gyron, and our kitty cat, Sprocket, I have been your host for this evening, Stephen Wyand. Thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you next week. Same time, same YouTube by God channel, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, for another outstanding edition of our Nation Sports Show. Have a great rest of your week and upcoming weekend. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up.